That's a lot of beautiful people. Now, the only thing I told Scott, you have to do me one favor. I'll do it. But if we have the biggest crowd you've ever had, even though we're in the middle of the worst snowstorm, we don't have snow like this in New York. But this is one beautiful, I may not be out of here. You know, I'm supposed to be lifting off. I don't think the plane's going to be lifting off very soon. But I said, the one thing you have to do for me, you have to announce that it's the biggest crowd you've ever had. So is it? He said, absolutely, by far.
Absolutely is, Donald. And I think they'll actually shovel your plane out for you to help you get off. So
you may have to come. So now we know it's the biggest crowd, so I'm happy about that, okay? It's the biggest. And look at all the people up there. Wow, that's amazing. This is a great facility and a great owner. Thank you, and thank you very much. Really nice. So first thing I have to do, because he's a friend of mine, he's an amazing guy, an amazing champion, and a really nice person. Tom Brady. Come on, Tom. You got to win, Tom.
yeah.
Okay, you got to win. He's a great champ. He's a fantastic guy. And I could tell you so many stories about him. But as good as he is as a player, he's that way as a person, too. And he's a little bit injured. But him being injured, he's still better than anybody. And you have the best coach, and you have the best owner, and you get really a special group. So hopefully, good luck today. I was thinking about, just to see if you're really Trump fans, I was going to keep you here beyond 4 o'clock. So we'll all, right? I was going to keep you like a little, now we'll be out of here very quick. In fact, we're going to make this very quick, because if I don't make it quick, I'm definitely not going to be able to lift off. All right, Scott? So this journey began in June, and nobody had any idea it was going to be like this. I've been now on the cover of Time magazine so many times over the last few months. It's been incredible. And the last one, last week's Time cover, I loved the story. I just thought the story was so well written and so professionally written, without any barbs. You know, normally, and Scott knows this very well, even when we get the right stories, these people in the back, they have to take a shot. It's always like, you know, you'll have 2 good paragraphs and then a kill, and then 3 good ones and a kill. And in the end, the story's lousy because the kills, you know, they're bigger than the good ones. But this Time magazine story, it really describes what's happened with the campaign. It's been an amazing thing. And the Wall Street Journal today has it's an incredible article about the debate and myself and the debate. And a lot of people have the articles, and a lot of people have put out really nice things as to what happened in the debate, and we're very happy with the end result. And, you know, I've been having somebody been following me along and being very nice no matter what I said. He was very, very nice. And I kept saying, you know, I'm a professional. Like this man's a professional, like this man's a professional. I'm a professional. I kept saying, when's Ted Cruz going to say something bad? Come on, Ted. You've been saying, come on, Ted, say. But he kept saying, good, good, good. And I'm just waiting, and I'm saying, good. Because a lot of people do not like Ted, to put it mildly. And I kept saying, what? Am I the only person that thinks he's a nice guy? So as it turned out, you know, he finally went off the wagon a little bit and went a little crazy. And it's very, I mean, he's being a great hypocrite. When you think that, you know, he talks about he's going to be Robin Hood, he's protecting, then it finds out that on his personal disclosure form, he didn't disclose that he's borrowing a lot of money from Goldman Sachs. And he said, well, he forgot. And then, so that he forgot about Goldman Sachs. But then today they have another story where he forgot another bank, Citibank, and he forgot. Now, how do you control Citibank, and how do you control, and right fairly, about Citibank, about Goldman Sachs, about these big, powerful banks? You're a senator, and yet you owe them money with a personal guarantee. I don't think it works that way. So he obviously didn't want the voters to know that he is totally controlled, lock, stock, and barrel, by Citibank and by Goldman Sachs. And I think that's very hypocritical, I'll be honest with you. I think it's very, very hypocritical. And then he spoke badly about the people of New York, really, because, you know, cities are cities, but they're basically people. They're brick and mortar and they're people. And he spoke very disparagingly about the people of New York. And I've been with the people of New York for a long time, but when the World Trade Center came down, I watched these incredible people rebuild from the day it came down, literally. They were there when other buildings in the surrounding area they thought were going to fall, and you had people working, trying to help the most horrific sights you've ever seen, trying to help, do whatever they could. And I was there when we actually thought the U.S. Steel building was coming down. And I'll never forget that I was standing next to these two massive, wonderful firemen. And we heard a screech, like a screech, steel on steel. And it was a couple of days after the buildings, and I was down there we had a crew of people that, to help. I mean, they needed a lot of help. I've never seen anything like I saw. And they heard a screech, and everybody thought that the U.S. Steel building was coming down. And it was not so far from us. And these two guys, they were massive guys, two really big, because I'm a big guy. And they grabbed me. I must tell you, honestly, I never knew I could run that fast. But they were running just as fast, and they had my arms, and we were just running. And these are incredible people. And when you think firemen coming in from Long Island and other parts of New York, you're talking about insulting 20, 25 million people if you talk about the area. Where they drove in, they heard about it, and firemen driving in that had nothing to do with it from Long Island and other parts. And by the way, driving in and coming in from Iowa and from all over the country. We had fire departments from Iowa coming in. It was so incredible to see and to witness. And people coming in from all over. But firemen coming in during the blaze, they knew that building was in serious trouble. And they got there, they come through the tunnels and up, and they stop and they run. They run into the buildings, and they're running up the stairs, and they knew it could collapse. Everybody knew it could collapse. And the buildings are coming down, first building, second building, and you have people running up the stairs as that's happening. And Ted Cruz criticizes New York and the people of New York is a disgrace. I think it's a total disgrace. A total disgrace. So I just, I have to say, so I thought what he said was very, very, very sad. And even during the debate, he said, well, the poll numbers, I've been going up I've been going up since, Scott will tell you, essentially since I went out. Don't forget, they kept using the word plateau. First week I was at 6, and all of the pundits said, well, he's plateaued. He's got a 6. Next week I hit 12. Then I hit 14, then I hit 18, or whatever the numbers may have been. And the next week I hit like 17, and then 20. And every week it was, well, he plateaued. Then I got up to around 24, 25, and they said, yeah, this isn't good. And then last week, a couple of polls had me at 42%. 42. It's pretty good, right? Don't forget, that's 42, and at that time, I think they had like 15 people. Now they're rapidly dropping out, and I think probably after Iowa or New Hampshire, there's going to be a lot of people leave. But, when you have 42 and you have 14 or 15 people that they're talking about, that's a tremendous percentage. I'd take that if we had 3, right? If they had 3, we'd take the 42. But we certainly take it when we have 15 people. So it's been an amazing run. And I've really enjoyed it. People say to me, what have you learned? And one of the things I learned, Scott, and you probably learned this too, I hope you have, because to me it's been a great experience. I've been written about very falsely, and the public gets it. They really understand it. Some guy the other day on television said, and they'll say things that are so unbelievable. I supported very heavily John McCain. He lost. It's okay. I supported Mitt Romney. He lost. I thought John McCain's was a tough fight because the economy was not exactly too good. And I think that would have been I'm not sure that Abraham Lincoln could have won that one, right? But Mitt Romney, I would have thought that he could have won. We had a failing president. I think that's one that should have been won, and for some reason it wasn't. But I supported these two guys. But I supported very heavily in 2008. I supported John McCain, raised a lot of money for him. I was on his committees, everything else. And I had this guy, this really dopey guy I was watching last night, Bill O'Reilly, who's a great guy. But this dopey guy, no, I'm not talking about Bill. This dopey guy, Glenn Beck, he looks like hell. No, he's like a dope. And I've watched him cry on television all the time. He's doing very badly. His thing is falling apart. His company is falling apart. I see him on television. I actually called Bill O'Reilly. I said, Bill, why do you have a guy like that on television? Fox fired him, and then he goes out, does this thing. We heard he was doing well. He's not. But he's on. And the thing that bothered me, he said, Donald Trump voted for Barack Obama. Me. And here's the problem. The good thing about having a large microphone is that we can at least explain to people that these people lie. They lie so much. The reason he doesn't like me is because I didn't do a show. He asked me so many times, do my show. And I didn't do it because I don't respect him. I did it because, I'm so busy. I couldn't do a show. This was quite a while ago. I couldn't do a show. And just time-wise. And then all of a sudden enough time goes by. And I understand that. So he started hitting me, and that was the end of that. But the guy goes on television last night with a rally, says that I voted for Barack Obama, and I'm on John McCain's committee, raised a tremendous amount of money for John McCain, had dinner with John McCain and his wife right before the election, and I got to listen to this idiot named Glenn Beck saying I was for Obama. And I say, it's sort of interesting. Most people wouldn't bring it up. Most people don't even see it. But it's sort of a good thing to bring up if you can. If you can have the experience of talking to people, because some people see something like that and they believe it. There's nobody to refute them. Do you agree with that? You get it.
I absolutely
I like to bring it up because, he can say other things and you don't bother. You don't want to waste time. All you do is make him a little bit bigger. But he's a failed guy. But, I like to bring it up because I like to let people know it's so dishonest out there with the media. It's so dishonest. So we like to do that. The thing that I've learned more than anything else is how smart the public is, how caring the public is. And, when I fill up stadiums, I fill up places, it's incredible. Like today, look at all these people in the snowstorm. It's an amazing thing. They're doing it because, my theme is Make America Great Again. And that's it. It's very simple. It's Make America Great Again. And it's very simple, but very factual. That's what we're going to do. We're going to make it great. And I actually say, because after, I didn't say it at the beginning, but I go to Dallas. We have, Scott, 21,000 people. Mobile, Alabama had 35,000 people. We had in Oklahoma 20,000 people. When I go to New Hampshire, I have the biggest crowds by far. In Lowell, we filled out that arena. We had to send away 7,000 people, which still, I'm going to go back and we're going to take care of those 7,000 people. I felt badly. But, that big arena, which people don't even use because you can't fill it up, we not only filled it up, we had to send away 7,000 people. But whether it's New Hampshire or Iowa, South Carolina, we're doing so well. And the reason is because people really want hope. There's no hope with these people that we have running for office, except for him, of course. But the reason he's not in is because maybe they gave up on hope. And here's a good man, by the way. I hope you're going to do it again. Are you going to do it again? I hope. We got to look something. We got to get him back. We're losing our good ones. We're keeping the bad ones. We're losing our good ones. But the right thing's going to happen, and we'll be behind him 100%. We have to, because he, Vice President. Hey, that sounds like a good. Hey. Very good. Hey, you know what? And he's central casting. Look at that guy, central casting. He's great. A great guy and a great, beautiful, great wife and family. So important. So what I have seen is the level of enthusiasm and the brilliance of the people as a unit. The people are so smart. They really, really get it. And frankly, if they didn't get it, they wouldn't be showing up in these massive numbers. Because I think you'd agree, Scott, this is like a movement. I got a call from one of the top writers, and he's a liberal writer, but it's all right. We can get those calls every once in a while. We don't want to take too many of them. But he said to me, and this was 3 months ago, the summer had, sort of ended, and we were doing really well, and they called it the summer of Trump. And he said, could I ask you a question? How does it feel? I said, how does what feel? He said, how does it feel? You've dominated everything. The whole conversation's about what you are and about what you're saying, more importantly. How does it feel? I said, does it feel anything? To me, unless I win, what difference does it make? He said, no. It matters because you've changed politics as we know it. I said, no, you're wrong. If I don't win, it doesn't matter. And when I say I don't win, I mean the top. Because otherwise, all of these things, whether it's the strength of the border, whether it's any of the other things, the deals, the horrible deals that we made, the trade deals that we have, putting the right people in place. China is making 500. We have a trade deficit this year with China, $500 billion. Not going to happen if I'm running things. It's not going to happen. So essentially, I said, and I respect it, he said, because the summer of Trump, then he said, and it's the autumn of Trump, because I spoke to him recently. I said, still doesn't matter. It only matters if we win. Because I can, look at all these beautiful headlines, and today the editorial of the Wall Street Journal was really nice today, and they talked about the debate and the different things, and they were very nice. But it all doesn't matter unless we win, because unless we win, we can't put the right things into gear. And I deal with the politicians, and they're all talk, they're no action. When I say build a wall, they don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. They don't know where to build. No, they don't. They really don't know. They don't even have a clue. And when I say the different elements that I say it very strongly, they don't know. For instance, who's going to pay for the wall? Mexico's going to pay for the wall. They're going to pay. Remember I said it. They're going to pay for the wall. The politicians come up to me on the dais, a couple of them. Nice people. I get along actually with most of them, and they say, Don, Mexico won't pay for the wall. I said, of course they will. Every business person in here knows what I'm talking about, because they make so much money off the United States. Do the business people get it? Do you guys know what I mean? I'll bet this guy knows, right? It's called, hey, if you're making many billions more than the cost of the wall, they're going to pay. They're going to pay. Nabisco is moving to Mexico. Ford moving to Mexico. Many, many companies moving to Mexico. They're going to pay 100%. Not like 99 point. They're going to pay 100%. Now, maybe in different forms. You have to have flexibility, because maybe they won't want to do it one way, then we'll do it the other way. If they don't want to do it, they'll do it. And we'll get along with them better. We'll get along with them better than they get along with them right now. Because right now they take advantage of us. I know Mexico very well. I have thousands of people from Mexico and Hispanic employees. Tens of thousands over the years. Tens of thousands. They're fantastic people. They're unbelievable people. But the leaders are too smart for our leaders. And they're too cunning. That's an important word, cunning. They're too cunning. And what's happening at the border is a disgrace. It's a disgrace. The whole thing is a total disgrace. Do you know in Mexico, it's probably the hardest, but one of the hardest is, if Scott and his beautiful family want to become citizens of Mexico, which is unlikely, I think you're very happy in New Hampshire, it will be impossible for that to happen. Okay? Impossible. Impossible. Here we have people go through and they, walk in, and essentially they might as well be citizens, because the illegal immigrants are treated better than our vets. They're treated better, I'm telling you. They're treated better than our vets. And Scott knows. I mean, I had a friend that went to Mexico, and he was there. He was there for like a week, and he was there with his family, and he was an extra day or 2 days because he had a problem with transportation. And they get called by the guards. When are you leaving? Oh, why are we leaving? Well, you had a pass today. By the way, they're right. It's not the wrong thing. With us, it's when are you leaving? How about in 25 years I'm going to leave, okay? I'll leave when I want. We have our Border Patrol people who actually called me. They want to meet me, and I met with them in Laredo, Texas. These are incredible people. They want to do the job. They're saying, stand back. They're told, stand back. Don't do stand back. These are people that can do the job, and they're told to stand back. So we are going to have an amazing country again. We have a great country, but we're going to make it so much better. We're going to make it so much sharper. We're not going to be the stupid people anymore. We're not going to have leaders that are incompetent. They don't know what they have done. I guarantee you, I talked about so much the prisoners with the Iran deal, where we give them $150 billion, and then they treat those sailors like, did anybody get sick at watching that scene? Think of it. I know you would have gotten totally sick. I wouldn't have wanted to call you then. Sick and angry. When people said, they were saying the other day, Trump is angry. Of course I'm angry. I want to be angry. Who's not angry? And they wanted me to say, no, I'm really not angry. I'm so happy with the way the country's a mess. I am angry. I am angry. I won't be angry for long, because when I fix it, I'm going to be very happy. But right now, yeah, thank you. But right now I am angry. But think of the scene. You have these 10 sailors. I don't know what happened. They went, I guess it sounded like they took a little shortcut through a big body of water. Okay, big deal. And they get locked in, and they're dropped to their knees in a begging position, hands up, guns to their heads. And this is supposed to be our ally. And trust me, folks, in this, one of the stupidest deals ever made, which, by the way, won't do a thing in terms of nuclear other than maybe proliferate, okay? You're going to have more, because other people now are talking about getting it because this deal is so bad. We've made a terror nation a very rich nation. More importantly, we've given them Iraq. We've handed to them. They've been trying to get Iraq forever. As far back as you can go in time, they've wanted Iraq. And Iraq has, by the way, people don't know, the second largest oil reserves in the world. So not only did Iran get this deal, but they got Iraq, courtesy of the United States. Now they've taken over Yemen. And the reason they want Yemen is take a look at the border with Saudi Arabia. It is a long, beautiful border right along Saudi Arabia, because they want to go get that oil too. I mean, what Iran has done is incredible, but $150 billion. I have been mentioning this so much, and I guarantee you the United States has been putting so much pressure. Please give us our prisoners back. Please, please, please. This should have been done 3-4 years ago when the deal was struck. Before the deal was made, and this is the world's longest deal, they should have said, we want our prisoners back. Now, the reason, and what's happening, the reason they let the sailors go, is because in 2 days they were getting $150 billion. And these are smart people. They're not going to say, well, we're going to keep the same. They had to get the money. So they let them go. I guarantee you, Scott, that if that money weren't in play, they would have kept those sailors, 100%. They would have kept them, just like they kept the 4 people. Now I have to see what the deal is for the 4 people, because somebody said they're getting 7 people back. So essentially, they get $150 billion plus 7, and we get 4. Doesn't sound too good. Doesn't sound too good. But we have to see, because I just heard about this an hour ago. And I'm happy they're coming back, but I will tell you, it's a disgrace that they've been there for so long. It's a disgrace. Remember that. A total disgrace. So when we started, just to finish, and then Scott and I will talk for a couple of minutes, but when we started, it really worked, and very importantly, it really started off as trade and border and this and that. Then we had Paris, and then all of a sudden it started looking like this whole situation was taking a very, very deep and dark, it was becoming a very deep and dark picture. And all of a sudden, CNN did the first poll, and they're back there. I don't want to give them any unnecessary credit, because it's not like they treat me great, but they do these polls, and the polls, I guess they're legit with their polls, because Trump is always winning in the polls, right? So I like it. But they said, you've seen this, Scott, who wins on security? Trump. Who wins at the border? Trump. Who wins at the economy? Trump, by so much. And by the way, I don't mean Trump like Trump gets, a point more. Trump gets double, triple, quadruple, much more than anybody else. And then who wins on ISIS? And who wins with the military? Trump, Trump, Trump. So, all of a sudden, and this started happening, pretty much since Paris, and then you had the horrible situation in California with the couple. She comes in on a fiancé permit, and she's radicalized, and the other guy's probably radicalized, but he became radicalized, and they killed people. They gave them a wedding reception. People gave them a wedding reception. I mean, something's going on. We have to figure it out, folks. Something is going on. That even today, I'm leaving, and I'm seeing what happened. Today, a hotel was blown up. Many, many people dead. They don't even know how many people. Just blown up. Innocent people, blown up. And World Trade Center, we're talking about World Trade Center. Flying airplanes into the World Trade Center, into the Pentagon, 3rd plane, who knows where it was going? Who knows? They say it was going at the White House, but who knows where it was going? Brave people on that plane, by the way, brave people. But really brave people. But something's going on, and so it's changed very much, and I have been talking much more about the military, and they have much more confidence in me with the military than they have with these politicians that don't know anything. And they don't, believe me, they don't. And everything is, the word unpredictable, Scott. And so sometimes it's very tough for me, because they'll say, well, what do you do about this? What do you do about this? And I want to say, I have a chance of winning. I don't want to really tell you what I'm going to do, like on military. Like I've been saying oil. Take the oil, take the oil. I never wanted to say it. I wanted to surprise them, right? But it got to a point 6 months ago when I had to say it. I was saying to them, no, I don't want to tell you. I know what to do, but I don't want to tell you. And they'd say, oh, he doesn't really know. Finally, I had to do it. I mean, you have to win. I hated to tell them, take the oil. And then the government said, you can't take the oil. You can't do that. You can't do it. General MacArthur couldn't do it. General George Patton, they would have had the oil 4 years ago. They would have had the oil. He would have had the oil before he stepped out of his airplane, right, to claim victory. But it's one of those things. So a couple of weeks ago, right after Paris, they started taking the oil, finally. But I said, take the oil and keep the oil. They just take the oil. They just bomb the oil. I said, take it. No, you keep the oil. Folks, you buy it, you keep it, right? and then you distribute it. You take some and you give some to the veterans and to the wounded warriors and to the families who lost people, and you give some to the families that have had death and horror in their lives. And what have we got out of Iraq? We've gotten out of Iraq, I'll tell you, $2 trillion it cost, thousands of lives, wounded warriors who we all love all over the place. We got nothing, and they won't even listen to us. And now Iran is taking Iraq. So I said, keep the oil. We give some to people that really were affected. I mean, you have families that lost sons and daughters, and they got nothing. They have nothing. So I just say that we're going to run our country properly. We're going to be respected again, and it's great that you're here. And if I don't get the hell out of here soon, I'm never going to be able to take off. Go ahead.
All right.
So he'll ask me a couple of quickies.
Yep. First of all, thank you very much, Donald. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. Let's hear it for Donald Trump, everybody. So, Donald, you already talked about, I think, at great length right now about the border and your position on that issue. I'm somebody who served 35 years in the military. I was the rank of colonel, last 4 in the Pentagon, and I've had many people come up to me who are probably going to raise their hands, but I'll ask the questions for our veterans. You're right. The VA is screwed up. You have people that are hurting. They're dying while waiting in line, and they poo-poo it. They pass a bill after people are dying, and they still have not done anything. The question from the crowd is, what will you do to have the backs of our veterans?
All right, well, first of all, great question. The VA is one of the most corrupt enterprises in all of Washington and the country. It's so poorly run. It's so poorly run. And with that being said, by the way, I've met some people that are really great doctors, and some of the people are even saying some of the doctors are fantastic, but the administration is largely corrupt, and it's a disgrace. What's going on with the VA is a disgrace. So, do I hear something? I hear somebody scratching. No, I hear somebody scratching. I'm saying, who the hell's back there? But the VA is absolutely disgraceful, and we are going to run it professionally and great. And one of the things we're going to do, Scott, you know, one of the biggest problems, people are waiting 6-7 days in a reception room trying to get a pill or a minor procedure, and many people are dying while they're waiting. And we're going to work a system, and I put out a policy which I think most of you have seen, certainly the veterans have all seen it, and it's been really praised. When you have 6-day waits and 5-day waits and the doctors can't see you, et cetera, you're going to go to the local hospital, you're going to go to a local doctor, we're going to pay that bill, and you're going to get taken care of properly and quickly. So that's the way it is. And you know, in the end, it's cheaper. In the end, it's going to be a lot cheaper. So we're going to do that, among other things, but the vets will be taken care of well.
Thank you very much for that question. Another question that's come up as I've been walking around, and by the way, this front monitor's picking up something, or you turn it down. A lot of folks are deeply concerned about the $19 trillion in rising national debt, our deficits, the fact that we have the highest corporate tax rate in the industrialized world, rules and regulations, including Obamacare and others that are just crushing businesses like this and others, people that are here. What is your plan to deal with the economic challenges, including our debt and deficit?
Okay, well, first of all, we're going to repeal and replace Obamacare, which we have to do. I mean, premiums are going up 25, 35, 45%. Your deductibles, you'll never get to use it. You have to be hit by a tractor to use it. I mean, the deductibles are so high now that you'll never get to use it. So Obamacare is a disaster. And honestly, it's going to fold by 17 anyway. It's, you know, it's folding because all the people that they didn't think were going in are going in, and the people they did think, meaning the people that pay, they're not going in. So we are going to get rid of Obamacare, and we're going to have a great plan. And it's going to be a much less expensive plan, and it's going to be a plan that's much better for the people. So much fat. When I look at, I watch a guy like Jeb Bush, who's totally in favor of Common Core. And I say, no wonder he's down at 2%. No, can you imagine? Jeb Bush is in favor of Common Core, totally against Common Core, me. Totally against, we're going to kill the Common Core. We're going to bring education back to the local communities where it should be. We're going to have great education. Don't forget, with all of the money we spend, we spend so much on education. #1 in the world. So we're #1 per pupil in the world by a factor of, you have no idea, by so far ahead. We're number 28 in education. We have third world countries that are ahead of us. So we're bringing education back. We're getting rid of Common Core. While I'm on a subject, Second Amendment, we're going to cherish and protect our Second Amendment. It's under siege. It's under siege. And we're going to be cutting a lot of the fraud, abuse, waste. There's so much of it, and we're going to start chopping down that $19 trillion. Hard to believe, $19 trillion. but we're going to start chopping it down, and we'll chop it down very significantly, quickly, and we're going to bring jobs back to this country, believe me.
Thank you very much, John. Just so you know, when I was there, it was $11.95 trillion, and you see where it is today. Now, we have a question right here, this young lady, and then I see we have a question right there.
Hi, so I just want to ask, college debt is a huge problem right now, and luckily I go to a university that I get to go for free because I'm under income cap. Right. But student debt is a huge issue, and I wanted to know what you were going to do when you're president, Mr. Trump. Okay.
It's one of the biggest questions I get from young people, because I go all over, and it's student debt. One of the big answers, obviously, Scott, is jobs. Because, you know, the biggest problem is they graduate. They don't mind the debt as much as they mind the fact that they go through 4 years or 2 years of college, and then they get out, they can't get a job. So we're going to create jobs. I always say, I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. That's what I do is jobs. I have thousands of jobs. Okay. So we're going to create jobs, so important. But you know what's happened? Students are going out. I've been watching this process, and I'm not even blaming the college. It's sort of natural. It's a very, bad system in a way. Students go out and they borrow money from the federal government. Now they have the money. And the colleges keep going up, 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 much more than they should be going up, because all they do is take all this money, because essentially they're borrowing it. They just have, the students are like a middleman. They're just taking from the students. So there's no incentive for the colleges to bring costs down. And the college costs, running the college, they're going through the roof, including salaries for the top people. I'm looking at salaries that some of these people are making, and it looks like they're running General Motors, or when General Motors runs properly. But it looks like they're running, a major corporation. And it's really a problem, because and I understand how the system works, and that's sort of the way the system works. But the way we have to do it is we have to go in and check it, because what's happening in the colleges, they're taking this money, and the next year they go up, and the government gives more money to the students. So the one that suffers, the people that suffer, the students, I'm going to solve the problem. Okay? Thank you. Good question.
We have a young lady right here. If you could hand the mic straight back to this young lady right there. Raise your hand high, young lady. Speak right in the microphone.
So I have a two-part question. How are you planning on keeping the country safe from international threats?
Okay, well, that's a very big question.
Good question.
It's a great question. I hope the second part isn't quite as big. That could be a part 5 question. Look, we need a strong military. Right now we have a military that's under siege. When General Orellana left a few weeks ago, he said that we are the least prepared that he's ever seen, our military. And yet we should be the most prepared, because the world hates us. Obama and Hillary have done a job. I mean, the world is under flame. The world is burning, and they hate us. And if you think about it, during the Obama administration, look what's happened. And our military has become absolutely, I'm in the real estate business. I get these listings for military bases all the time. Military base. I say, how many of these things are we giving up? We have military bases. So many are closing. We are going to have a military that's so strong and so powerful that nobody's going to mess with us. Believe me, okay? Nobody. And I have to add, and I think you would agree, it's very costly, but that's cheaper than what we're doing now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And your second part to your question?
Can I take a selfie with you?
Well, we'll see you after when you can come right down here.
Come on, Scott. Don't be a party pooper, Scott.
Right,
come on up. Lift her up, Kevin. Lift her over the railing.
Wow, okay.
Lift her over the railing. Come on, Kevin.
I have
Let's
a bad
see.
back.
I don't know if Kevin can do it. I don't think Kevin's strong enough. Be careful.
Help her out,
Come on,
ladies.
fellas, help her. The
Come on.
owner is going to help her. He's a strong guy. He lifts cars all the time. Come on. That's it, darling. Come on.
Good. Come on up
Scotty's a party pooper.
No, I'm not a party
Come on.
pooper.
Obviously, he's not running for office. If he was running, he would have said, come on up. See?
I have instructions. All right. Good job.
Great.
Thank you very much. I have the gentleman with the glasses right there, the green shirt. You're going to have to speak up. There's no mic. Oh, there's a microphone right there. Thank you.
Donald, I think the border is paramount. Without getting the border under control and immigration, none of this, all the rest of this is irrelevant. We've got to get this border under control, the immigration. Are you going to make a commitment to seal that border, close the immigration down for a couple of years till we figure out what to do next?
I'm the one. You're talking to the converted. You're talking the converted. I mean, forget it. We're going to have a border. You know, if you don't have it, I just was interviewed by George Stephanopoulos. If you don't have a border, you don't have a country. You don't have a country. We don't really have a country. We have a border that's like a piece of Swiss cheese. We are going to have borders that are so strong. The wall will be built. It'll be a real wall. That'll be a wall. This will be a serious wall. But we're going to have a border. We're going to have borders all over. And we're going to stop the whole thing with the visas where people fly in, you know, because the border is 50% of it. But we also have people coming in through so many different ways. We're going to have a real strong country again. And we're going to want people to come in, and we're going to want people to go through the process. We want people to come in. They have to come in legally, okay?
Thank you very much. There's a gentleman in the green shirt right there with his hand up.
One of the main principles of your campaign is to annihilate ISIS.
I'm sorry, you're... Hey, who cares? Guys, who cares? What's your question?
One of the main principles of your campaign is to annihilate ISIS. After you do so, besides taking the oil, what will you do to bring stability to the region and prevent some of the mistakes made in Iraq?
Okay, well, I have to be honest with you. This has been going on for a long time. Stability to the region. We've been doing this for 15 years. We've become a debtor nation doing it. Our roads are falling down. Our highways, our bridges, I mean, our bridges are in such bad shape, they're like 50% of them are considered unsafe. We have to rebuild the United States. We have to rebuild the United States. Now, we got to get rid of ISIS. You know, I was very proud to say, and to, you know, everyone says, oh, Trump is this tough guy, he'll be fast. I'm slower on the trigger, but I'm a tough guy. I'm the strongest guy militarily that you can ever have. Okay, I always say, I'm a militaristic person. And we're gonna have such a strong military. But you know what? It's time, folks, for us. We're gonna get rid of ISIS. We're gonna get rid of them surgically and fast, because you can't allow them to cut Christians' heads off and everyone else's heads off. That's from medieval times. You know, Scott, I used to read about that. Yep. And I said, you know, this is no different. We're living in medieval times. We're living in times that are just as bad as they ever were in the history of the world. They're cutting people's heads off. I used to read that when I was in history class, the viciousness, right? Medieval times, boom. We're doing the same thing right now, probably more viciously. We are living probably the most vicious time. We have people that are disgusting, disgusting animals. And we're gonna stop that. But you know what? We've gotta get back to our country. We've gotta bring our people back. And we've gotta let people know that if they mess around with us, they're gonna be gone. We're gonna wipe them off the face of the earth.
All right,
okay?
we have one more question right there, Donald, and this will be the last question. Then, Donald, you're going to go down and you're going to go. But before we ask that question, Donald, what is the website that people can go to either volunteer or help out or spread the message?
DonaldJTrump.com.
All right, there you go.
Donald J. And in New Hampshire, by the way, the polls are coming out. We're leading by like 20 points. We're doing great. But you know what? Please do me a favor. Go out and vote. Because if we don't vote, we're all wasting our time, folks. It's never going to happen.
We have a question right here, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Soon to be President Donald Trump.
Thank you.
What are you going to do about, I have tried to reach out to you a couple times. I am disabled in many ways. I am an NFL player. In less than 4 years, 9 concussions. I've not recovered from one to the next to the next. And as for my physical things, I'm not supposed to be standing here. I wasn't supposed to trudge through the snow. I was not supposed to do anything. I've been fighting for SSI or disability for 3 years. In 2008, I was in real estate as well, my love, which I can't do anymore because my brain does not function and filter anymore.
So what's your question, ma'am?
I lost everything in 2011. 4 nights ago, there's a place a mile down the road. I now live in a homeless shelter. How do I get disability and have this process move forward quicker?
Well, I know you have a very tough situation, and I think the best, so that we don't keep everybody, I'm going to have somebody see you afterwards and let me see your situation. I mean, the truth is everybody's situation is different, but we'll see your situation,
Great.
okay?
Thank you. And you're right down, are you right down at Crossroads, ma'am? Are you at a Crossroads? Okay. Thank you. Local state rep. You can see Representative Baldessaro as well, and we'll tie that in together.
Where's Al? Is Al here?
Yeah, he's right there.
Where's Al? I don't see you. You're behind the column. That's first time I've ever seen you in the second row, Al.
Well, we put him in the we put him behind the column for a reason,
Yeah,
Donald.
good reason.
Okay?
Good reason.
No, he's a good guy, working hard. Take one more, or are we done?
Take another one. Take
Take
another
one more. Take one more right here, ma'am, in the purple, right there.
Hi, Mr. Trump.
Aye.
My question is, I manage property and I have a lot of friends that are small businesses, contractors, landscapers. They have a hard time when they employ U.S. citizens, pay taxes. They have a hard time competing against businesses that I see a lot of them that employ illegals. They don't pay taxes, they pay them under the table. Do you have a plan to address that?
Well, we have to stop the illegals. We have to put our people to work. But there are visa programs where we can bring people in if you can't get people for jobs, because we don't want to stop our economy. So we have, as part of it, visa programs where you can put people to work because we don't want to affect the economy. That's one thing I don't want to do. Our economy is very weak. We have the slowest recovery in history. It's not even a recovery. And if you look, again, you hear these phony jobs numbers. People that were looking for jobs, that gave up, Scott, they gave up looking, they're considered employed. So you have 100 million people that would like to work and they can't work. So we will be able to take care of that situation beautifully. But we do want our people working, you understand. Okay? Thank you.